I would like to welcome you all to the Better and Badder podcast. I am your host, Inslee, and this podcast is dedicated to you, dedicated to your self-improvement, and it's all about you getting to that next level to be better and badder. Today, we are talking about the power of networking and your personal real estate. I am joined with Key, the assistant.
I'm Kiara, Key the assistant, and I'm super blessed and grateful to be here today.
Thank you.
Yes, as she said, I am Kiara, aka Key the assistant. That's Kee. And I'm super duper excited to be here.
Yes, Miss Famous Girl, Miss Author,
there she
personal
go.
assistant.
There she go
PR,
with this famous stuff.
Everything. She does it all, everybody.
I am just a entrepreneur and author and host and celebrity assistant out here. That's it. No famous. Not yet.
We're working there.
Well, I want you manifested. Yes. I'll take it.
She is a assistant, an author. She has been on 8 interviews, you guys. She's extremely accomplished, I feel, in the entertainment industry.
Aww.
And I am just so glad to be joined with her here today because we were just talking right before we got started about I never thought that I would have Key the assistant here on my couch.
Oh, yes. First of all, yes. Thank you for having me here. I'm super excited to be here. I actually did tell her, I would have never thought that I would be on Inslee Davis's couch because I went to high school with her, y'all.
Yes. And I am so glad to have you here on the Better and Badder podcast because right before we started, we were just saying that I'm building up. I'm in a phase where I'm getting more lights. I'm getting more things. I'm building out the production. And it's crazy because we started here from English class. I think we had English class together. That is why I'm so glad to have you here to talk about the power of networking, about your personal real estate. Yes. I'm so glad to have you here to talk about that today because your personal real estate is such an important topic. It's about taking up space and then taking that space to take you to new spaces.
See, I believe in giving people their flowers while they still here. So I'm about to give her first flower for today. I don't know how many I'm going to give her today, but this is the first one. Because, y'all, you can tell when somebody's creative and dope. Because who would have ever thought to name a podcast title, Your Personal Real Estate? Girl, it needs to be a book.
I hope so.
Your personal real estate. That's dope. I like it. I'm a fan.
Thank you. The concept is all about investing in a way. If you think about it, it's just like real estate, right?
It is.
When you buy a house, you have to make a down payment. You maybe have to do some credit building. There's going to be steps. It's going to take some stuff out of you. It's going to take some of your hard earned.
It takes a lot out of you. As a homeowner during COVID, it took a lot out of me.
And we can talk about that. But once you make those investments, not only do you have that asset, not only is that your asset, but your asset can be an asset to your community. You can raise the property value in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
You can work on that landscaping and show everybody, hey, this is my guy that does my yard. This is what we do and raise that value for everybody.
Yeah. And then for me, the goal is to leave it for generations and generations, but also in the process to help somebody else. But being able to still be able to rent my house out to those, whatever the case is, that's the luxury of real estate. You get to do what you want to do when you want to do it.
I love that. And so, as we're talking about community, as we're talking about networking, and you do work in the entertainment industry, networking in the entertainment industry is such a hard thing because it is a high profile space. How did you get your start? How did you begin networking in that space?
Okay. So for those who don't know, I am Kiara. I went to Sac State in Cali. And I have a dual degree in public relations and theater. And it actually started a little bit when I was in school because when I was in college, I was a residential advisor. And then I also worked at the radio station. I was a promotions. I started off in street team. And then I got promoted to the promotions in the office. I ain't have to do street team no more.
Love it.
Yeah, so I got to do making the Twitter captions and the Instagram posts and the radio verbiage for us to do the shout outs on air. Copy and learning copy. I actually got to be on air a couple times. That was fun. I got to meet Nelly. That was always a vibe. because I was actually that person who was over the writers. So making sure the artists had whatever they needed when they came to the station, or when they done our concerts, making sure they had whatever they wanted to drink, whatever they wanted to snack on. I was responsible. So it kind of started then without me knowing that it started then. So went to school, graduated from school, had to move back home because the radio station got bought out. So when I moved back home, I had no job. So then I was depressed.
Right. Yes. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it.
Oh, you want to talk about how after you graduate from school, it's the hardest thing to do is find a job?
So I was there too. I think we were all there. That is literally the hardest thing to do.
The hardest.
And I think a lot of the people that are watching this, a lot of the people that are listening are either people that are starting a new career, maybe getting into a new field. There'll probably be a lot of young creatives that could benefit from this. Getting out of college and getting that first job is a journey.
It's a journey too, and it's also very humbling.
Yeah.
Because for me, when I was in college, I was like, oh, you can't tell me nothing. I'm on top. Like, you can't tell me nothing. I'm on my own. I got my own spot. I'm making some coins.
Especially when you are already networking. You were already in those spaces.
Right. And then having to move home, move into your parents' house with no job. And then you're thinking, I'm like, I have experience. I worked at the radio station. Like, how hard can this be to find a job? It was hard. And so you had to start from the bottom as an intern. I literally had to shout out to the Atlanta Voice, the first Black-owned newspaper company here in Atlanta, owned by Janice Ware. I was sorry. It's Kiwi.
Yes.
But she had an internship program for those who either recently graduated from school or was in school. And so I started there. I worked in the community relations department. I worked under Jay Nash. Jay Nash was my boss and who turned into my mentor.
I love that.
And she was the one who actually told me that assisting is a thing. She was like, girl, you know executive assistants and virtual assistants, that's a real career. I didn't know that because why nobody never put that on none of the job things when you get in a job. That was never listed. They don't tell you those things in college. So everywhere she went, I went. And so that's how I started, because not only was she working at the Atlanta Voice, but she also was on TV. She was in radio. So she was doing multiple things, which then told me like, oh, if she can do multiple things, I can too.
And so that, I think, is a testament to the power of your network, right? Mm-hmm. Not only were you able to make that community engagement job parlay into something else, you met somebody that literally helped you build your network from there, that helped you to almost build out the career that you have now.
Yes, shout out to Jay Nash. She actually bought my business license. She believed in me.
Wow.
And I will forever be grateful for her. I still talk to her, not as much as we used to, but I still talk to her. Jay, I am so proud of you. I love you. And yeah. And then from there, I met Sasha the Diva, because I actually did get back into radio, y'all. Life was starting to look up. And so I got back into radio, and then I started working for Sasha the Diva, because I started back in promotions. But then, you know, when you're promotions, you always have to have talent with you when you go to promos. So for some reason, one day I was with her all day, and she was like, what do you do? And I was like, nothing, just this. And I was like, do you need? I said, well, I know how to assist. And she was like, oh, I need an assistant. From there, I was her assistant. And again, everywhere she went, I went. And so from there, I started to meet people and grow from there. But please be mindful that when you're working in the entertainment industry, and even in the role that I am as an assistant, there's still ways to go about networking. And there's still ways and protocol and procedures to go that you have to still be mindful of. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of things going on. There's NDAs. There's contracts. I can't just walk in a room with Sasha and be like, yeah, my name's Kiera and I do this. Like, no. Because it's a time, a place, and things. So...
And we're Atlanta girls. That's not cool. I just want to say, when you're from here, I think when you're in those spaces, it's not cool to try to take up too much space. And I feel like it's not cool to fangirl over somebody either, you know?
Right.
You have to be demure. It has to be very cutesy.
It has to be very cute. And so for me, it was just being able, sometimes you're not able to verbally network. What I mean by that is you can't do an elevator pitch. Everybody knows what elevator pitch. If you don't know what elevator pitch is, elevator pitch is when you have a minute to sell yourself. Whether you're selling a product, whether you're selling yourself, whether
like
you're
Sasha said, what do you do?
Right. That was my elevator pitch. And so you have to be mindful though of when you're doing that. It's a time, it's a place, and it's proper etiquette. So for me, my network though is I couldn't verbally, because I'm assisting. I actually am working. I let my work speak for me.
So to that point, I'm wondering, do you think the most important thing that someone needs to know when they're starting out? What would you say to somebody that's just starting out in the entertainment industry?
Just starting out in the entertainment industry, I think is, for one, the most simplest thing to do is get your name out there. So that means going to an event. And the crazy thing, this is probably going to surprise you. I'm a very outgoing person.
Oh, I'm so surprised.
I am, no, not that part. The next part I'm about to say. So I have, I'm an extrovert. But I'm shy when it comes to networking.
Wow.
That's because I'm so used to working behind the scenes. And it's not that I'm not used to being seen. It's not that. It's just, what am I supposed to say to these people? You know what I'm saying? Right. So for me, and what I'm telling y'all, I'm telling myself too, is that it starts by just going to an event. And I remember right now, and shout out to a great, dope individual who is also another mentor of mine. She is a client, but she's become a mentor and a client. She told me about 2 weeks ago, she said, well, Kiera, what is going to make somebody remember you? Even if you don't speak to them.
Wow, that's powerful.
And I said, wow, she's right. She was like, because, as an author, it's hard selling books. And you have to think, because you always trying to think of how you can be creative and so she was like, okay, well, Carrie, they may not buy a book, but if they remember your name, you done your job. Or if they remember what you looked like, or if they remember what you wore, then you done your job.
And so that, I think, is also a testament to your personal real estate again, right? It's about that landscaping.
Yes.
It's about that, how does it look?
Yes.
On site. So I think it's just and I love that. It's a step further than just the work you do, just the things you say. It's all of it. Yeah. It's all of it. It's how you look. It's how you present. It is all of the things.
Yeah. So shout out to Shalonda. I don't know if I'm supposed to name drop, but she's been very inspirational and has touched my heart within the last 2 weeks.
So when it comes to networking, do you think that it's a skill that can be learned, or do you think it's just something some people have and some people don't?
I think it's yes and no. I think networking goes hand in hand with your hustle. You can't teach everybody how to hustle. Either you got it or you don't. Networking, I think there's ways
to learn it. It's hard to learn it.
It's hard
to learn it.
Networking, it's like parenting. I'm not even a parent. I don't know why I said that. But it's like, because I hear my mama say all the time, there's no handbook. There's no handbook on how to network, because everybody's network is going to look different. In the entertainment industry, networking happened at the strip club.
And to the point of there's no handbook, there's not one book, but there's several ways, like you're making your point, several ways that you can go about it. If you're from the South and you've heard this term, there's many ways to skin a cat, right?
Right. I could go network at a restaurant. I can go sit at a bar because I'm a female and network.
And guys do it all the time. Guys do it all the time,
but they may go to a cigar lounge. I'm not going to cigar lounge. I don't want my hair to stink. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you on that one.
You know what I'm saying? So there's
many ways to do it.
There's many ways, but I think it starts with you just getting out there. Even if you don't, one of the people who don't like to be outside, I like to be outside because I don't get to go outside that often because I be working. But when I do go outside, I'm very intentional when I go outside. Okay, when I go outside today, I'm going to make sure I at least talk to 3 people that I do not know.
Yes. Let's get into some strategy.
Maybe, I don't know, them 3 people, maybe one of them is going to have a connection I need, or they're going to teach me something I don't know, or they know something that I don't know that I need to know.
And I love the strategy of 3 new people, and we're going to talk about some more strategies from this lovely book I learned. So the book is called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and that is really, really close to one of the strategies.
You gotta send me the link to this book.
Got you. It is really close to one of the strategies that we're going to get into. I think it's really important to make people feel important. And you were saying hey beauty, things like that. I think there's also a little step that you can take, and this is a little bit old school, but my mom always recommended it, and it works so well. It's like a handwritten note, giving somebody appreciation, showing appreciation. And I think also showing up. Yes, because it's so unique, you guys. It's so unique. Even if you get somebody else with good handwriting to write it for you, it stays in people's mind. It also could work with another strategy from the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And that's one that I incorporate from that book. But another strategy is also becoming genuinely interested in people. When you're meeting all these people, are you a person that goes back and tries to touch base? Like, when you meet so many people, how do you manage
if you are networking, if you're networking and you meet people, you have to follow up. Whether that follow up is an Instagram like, an Instagram DM, an Instagram follow. First of all, that's the first thing I'm gonna do anyways. It's the easiest thing to do.
What advice would you give for somebody that is networking, trying to pivot, trying to get started, and is managing multiple different opportunities, businesses, wearing many hats? What would you say to somebody that is doing several different things and also trying to get into new spaces when you have to make that balance?
Start to build you a team, because you can't do it. You can't do it alone. And I'm realizing that. That's where I'm at right now.
Just like we were saying earlier, your market value impacts your whole neighborhood. So it's not just what you can get from your community. It's also what you give to it. It's also what you're contributing to those brands. It's what you're contributing as your own brand.
Anytime you pivot, you need help. I think it starts to build your team, or going to speak to an expert in whatever field or mentor that is that you're trying to pivot into. I'm still building my brand. I started Pros and Cups Assistant back in 2018, and here I am in 2024 just getting these high-end clients. You see what I'm saying? Like, it takes time. So please don't think, if you want to be an entrepreneur, that you're going to be an entrepreneur overnight. No.
So I think that's so important to the point of building credibility. How do you build trust?
Trust is everything. If I don't have trust, I don't have a job. Because I'm with these people every single day. They're literally trusting me to do whatever, whether that's watch their kids, whether that's going to the bank and depositing thousands and thousands of dollars. They have to trust me. My business, I treat my clients like dating.
Ooh, get into it.
So, granted, I'm still dating, but I treat it like dating, because when you go on a first date, first impressions are lasting impressions, right? So that's like going on a job interview. Your first impression, you only got 20 minutes? It's a lasting impression. So same thing with dating and my job. You showing up to work early? Oh, okay. Because when you care about yourself, your clients know then she care about herself, so she gonna care about me and what I got going on.
And I think to what you're saying also, like showing that you're excited to be there, showing that you're an accountable person. It's literally like dating. The same things you would want to do to have somebody trust you in your personal life, I think are really good steps you could take in your professional life.
I treat people how I want to be treated. I don't want you lying to me.
Golden rule.
I don't want you if I'm doing the work and you trust me, I have to trust my clients that you're gonna pay me on time. You see what I'm saying? Like it has to. It's like dating. It's 50-50. We both got to be in it. We both have to give it all we got.
100.
100.
We both have to be at our best.
When they expect me, and like I said, people don't think about what trust starts with your performance. If I'm coming, it's not just coming to work. It's coming to work with, like you said, with the positive attitude. It's coming to work dressed the part. It's coming to work even when I'm having a bad day. That's one of my rules. What I have going on in my personal life has nothing to do with when I'm at work.
And I think that would be a great rule in dating as well. Your day should not be affecting their day.
Boundaries.
I love that.
Just only differences with dating is that I may talk more personal about my personal life than I am with my clients. Right. And with me though, with me being a personal assistant,
and there are different boundaries to that point.
There's different boundaries, and my clients actually come. I don't want to say they're my babies because they're grown, but they're my kids. Like,
that's the relationship.
I take care of them.
And then last but not least, as we come to a close here on the Better and Better podcast, the podcast that is dedicated to you getting better and better, reaching that self-improvement and helping you actualize and become the person that you really want to be. Do you have a personal philosophy on how to maintain relationships, especially when we're so busy? All of us are so busy, and when you're working with high-profile people.
Nothing is happenstance. That's just my everyday philosophy, meaning everything happens for a reason, and everybody you meet is for a reason. Sometimes that reason may not be for them to buy what you're selling. Sometimes you're helping that person because they may be having a bad day. So sometimes knowing that networking is not always for you, sometimes it may be for that person.
Oh, I think that makes me actually think of something. It's the importance of listening to the other person, right? There is this director that I worked with, and at the time I was a PA, and it was a health and safety PA. It wasn't even like full blown like on set. I was just like swabbing people's noses. It was awful. But I was doing that, and I was working with this director that, if I'm just being honest, had everybody on set scared. But at some point it just dawned on me. I'm like, yo, this dude is having a bad day. And so when he like stormed past me, I was like, yo, how are you doing? And like, we started chatting it up. And then I became his little buddy, honestly. Like, if they had a bad take or a good take, like, he would come find me and like talk to me about it. And so I was getting to learn a lot from him, literally from just being there and showing up and listening. And our first conversation, ironically, was him just telling me about, like, he's older. He was an older white man. And so he was just telling me about like slang that they used in the 70s. And so when I asked him how was his day, he just brightened up and he laughed to himself and he said, "I'm fab." And I was like, "You're fab?" And he's like, "Yeah." Like, that 70s slang, it means, I'm a cuss, y'all. It means I'm fucking A and bitching. And I was like, what? And he made
that word sound so nice, and it really means a bad thing. Okay, great. I like it.
And so it made him laugh. It made me laugh. We had a little moment there, and it, just to bring it all the way around, listening to people showing up, just genuinely really showing up for people because you don't know what kind of day they're having, I think it's such a great philosophy. Like, nothing is happenstance, and showing up. And so I think that brings us full circle with our episode of The Power of Networking, about your personal, and I guess it's not even just your personal real estate, it's your community, right?
Yeah.
So
I like this.
I'm so glad to have had you here today.
I'm glad to be here, guys. This is dope.
I'm so excited from all that I have learned. Hopefully you guys can take away some strategies. Really quickly, again, from the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Make people feel special, right? Genuinely show some appreciation. And then to some of your strategies, build that trust, build that credibility, build that integrity. I think we have some really good things that people can walk away with here today.
Yes.
And I hope that we can have you again.
Yes, please do. You can follow me on my Instagram at Key the Assistant. That's KeeTheAssistant. You also can buy my book, The Assistant's Playbook. It is on Barnes & Noble's, Books A Million, Amazon, and my website, which is pearlsandcuffs.com.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for this episode of the Better and Badder podcast, dedicated to you getting better and badder.